is going to be our preview for this file. I have got some images here that we will apply later on in the JS. So let's begin as always with an exclamation mark. Name it a weather app, and inside the style tag I'm going to add root colors and max width. So let's go. After that I'm going to style the body. Now inside the body we will have two screens, the loading screen and the app screen. So let's go with the loading for now. Now as this one is done, I forgot to add the Tailwind. Let's add it. https://tailwind.tailwind.css.com. So let's see how the loading looks. It's working and loading. Now the second screen will be the app screen, and initially it will have a hidden class which will make it hidden, and the loading screen will be visible. So when the data is completely loaded, after that we will apply the hidden class to the loading and remove it from the app by the JS. So let's go with the app for now. Inside the app we will have a header just like a navbar. It will be displaying weather page at the left side and a search bar along with a button at the right side. So as the header is done, we will remove the hidden class from it for now and add it to the loading so we can see what we are creating in the preview. So we have created a clean header inside the app, just like this one. So now we will proceed with the city, weather, temperature and icon, followed by the light table, then the dark table and the forecast. So let's continue. Now as this is done, let's take a look. Currently it's looking like this because there is no data. When the data is loaded from the API, we will add that to these IDs here, like place. The place will be added here, description, the weather, and so on. So it will completely look like this after the API is fixed. So this one is done. Let's build the light table. Now we need a total of 6 rows over here, and we have 1 here. So we will multiply this 5 times more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we will change the names and IDs accordingly. This one will be wind speed and wind as ID. This one will have humidity ID. After that Now let's see what it does. So it is completely like this one, unless we add the data. So this table is done. Let's begin with the dark table. Now, as we have created the dark table, we need a total of 3, 4, 5, 6 rows here as well. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll change the data, the names and the IDs accordingly. We will add min-max, and here sunrise and sunset, and coordinates over here as well. Precipitation and sharp. Now the header, the temperature and icon, the light table and the dark table, all are ready except for the forecast. For now we will be just adding the empty section over here. The data will be taken from the API, as I said earlier. So let's create an empty section for that. Now we are done with the UI. Now I'm starting with the theme system. So let's get to the style and define the themes in terms of classes. Inside these classes, I am defining the accent color and the background image using CSS variables. Now, we will be applying each theme on an div element with an ID theme BG. So, it will be position fixed, insert 0, and will also control the lightening of the images, and will have opacity 0 initially, and a transition. So each theme is applied smoothly. And Z index 0, which makes it sit behind the end, which means it will not interfere with the transitions and all the stuff. And that is the main point, that I am making it separate so I can fade images in and out smoothly without messing with the UI layout, the hover effects, etc. So we have just defined them and defined the element on which we are going to apply it. So now here is the activation. Themes and the element on which themes will be applied. So initially it will have opacity 0 and a transition, smooth transition. So when the JS returns theme snow, for example, so it will go here and take this image, the image of the snow, and will fit it inside the theme BG, and so the theme will be loaded. So it's all done. Next is all on the JS. So let's come down to the JS. Inside the script tag, first I'm going to define a default city. The init function runs only once after the app loads. Therefore, I added a load city function to it. It will run this function, which is going to be our core function, and initially it will show us the details of this city, the default city, instead of showing an empty screen. So let's go with the core function for now. So whenever you search a city or just reload or load the app, everything runs through this function. The first thing I'm doing in this function is clearing the recent theme that was loaded. After that, I'm removing the header class from the loading. I'll remove this one. It's not needed because I have not added a hidden class. I removed it. We will control the hidden and this system from the classes, and we'll manage that whole with the JS. Because we will run correctly with the first load, but after you search it, that will not apply anymore. So after search, every search, this function is going to run. So we will be managing everything with this function. Clearing themes, removing hidden class from the app. Oh, it should have a hidden class. After that, I'm fetching the weather of the current city name, and rendering the data. Rendering, I mean the putting the data into the IDs or the HTML. After that, I'm fetching the forecast and rendering it. After that, I'm adding the weather icon provided by the API. After that is the logic for the weather theme selection. So what it does is finds out that what is the weather of the current city and sets the theme into an empty string. Then it says if the weather is clear, return theme clear. If it's rain or drizzle, return theme rain. If snow, theme snow, and so on. And after that, if for example the theme includes snow, so it will return theme snow, and that theme snow will be added to the theme, and that theme will be added to the class list of the body, and it will go up here, and theme snow image will be applied on the theme page. So that is how it works. simple, just hard for me to explain. Now after that, we have just called the functions of fetch weather, render weather, fetch forecast and render forecast, and we are now going to write these functions. These are quite simple, so let's go. And one more thing, when everything is ready, the API is fetched, the data is collected, rendered, forecast is rendered, icon, everything is done, then and the theme is returned. At last we will remove the hidden class from the app and add hidden to the loading screen. So that's how it works. And here the app will have a hidden class first, but when everything data is processed, everything is loaded, so at final it will remove the hidden class from the app and add it to the loading. So the loading screen will disappear and the app display will be visible. So now we are going to write these functions. Now for fetching the API, we will go to the OpenWeather.org, and here in the built-in API request by city name, I am going to copy this one, and also I'll be adding the units as metric. First I am going to make it a variable city and add units equals metric, and we will be also adding our API key. So when you log in, sign up or sign in into your account in OpenWeather, you can just go to my API keys, and there you can create a new key or use an old one by default, given by default. So if you create a new one, that will take some time in activating. Therefore I will be using the old one. That's it here, and the API is completely fixed. Now the API is fixed, the weather API. Now for the forecast, we will just duplicate it, change the name of the function into fetch forecast for the city, same as this one, and this is the difference between the weather and the forecast API fetch call. And also in the error, you will say forecast if it's fair, if it is fair, and then return. Fetching weather, fetching forecast. After that, we are going to render the data, the API that has been fetched. So for that, rendering weather data. You can check out the properties of the API in their documentation here at their own website, or you can just console.log the API after fetching and check its properties in the console. Anyways, I will not waste time on that. So what we actually do is taking the IDs that we have defined already here. The observed time has observed ID, min, max, etc. and so on. So these IDs are taken and has given the exact value accordingly to each one from the API. So that is how we have rendered the weather API. It's like we are turning data into information. Simple. So now it's time to render the forecast. The forecast API returns data every 3 hours, which is way too much for the UI, So I filter it down to 1 entry per day, usually around the midday. So then I loop through it and build small forecast cards dynamically. So we style the card here. First I filter 1 entry per day. Then for each entry I am creating an element called div and styling the card with the following classes: hover effects, etc., width, everything, and then putting the data in it, like the name of the day and the icon and so on. At last we do container, not a pin child card. So what actually container is the forecast. So we append the child card to the container, which is the forecast we have already defined here. The section we left empty earlier. So now it's all done. Now one thing remains: rendering forecast, the search bar. Now what it does, when you load the page, it will directly take the Brisbane as default city and runs the load city function, the core function, for this city, or the default city, Brisbane. Now if you search a new city, for example Islamabad, so it will take the queue, that search bar we have already created in the HTML and Tailwind. And if we search another city in there and that city is defined, means that exists, then load the function, the core function for the city, so it will run again. So what it will do is to clear the recent function that was the recent theme that was applied on the Brisbane, then add the heron class to the app because it was removed earlier in the recent one. Add heron class to the app, then fetch weather for the city name you have entered, render data, render the data, the API, then forecast, render forecast, and set the weather icon accordingly for given for that place by the OpenWeatherMap. Then logic for themes comes again, and if a weather is found, it must be clear, rain, snowfall, must be one of these. And so it will return a value, and that value will be termed as theme and will be added to the classes of the body. And when everything is done, fetching and then everything is done, it will simply remove the hidden class from the app and make the loading hidden. And so our app will be perfectly ready. So now if I check it, it will be perfectly ready. The loading screen is corrupted, I think. It's working. So on load it's appearing, but not on the search, and it is not responsive. So let's go with that. What's happening with the loading? It loads correctly, the loading screen appears, but when I search it and the function runs again, then it does not. Oh, so it's adding a hidden class to loading, but when runs again, it does not remove it. So it should remove it. My bad. Remove hidden class. Now one more thing. The loading appears on the top. So let's center. Loading. Everything is done. I think it does not have the height. Let's give it a height of 100 VH. Done. So it should be correct even on the loading on the search. So let's go. Yes, working. Karachi. But one thing remains: the responsiveness. I'll be adding the media queries for responsive. So finally I have added the responsiveness, the media queries. The core display had 2 columns, so I changed it to 1, and the gap has been reduced, and the width has been reduced to 80%, and the margin arrow, so it will be centered. Oh, what's wrong? I think I did not save it. Yes, perfectly fine. So this is the core display. It has first 2 columns, but now it has 1. So because it was affecting the responsiveness, I changed it to 1 column, gap reduced, width 80%, and margin arrow, so it will be centered. Then this area, display flex direction column, and align item centered. It was first in a row. Now change it to column, and reduce the size of the place and temperature and of the circle and light card with 99%. Reduce the size of these and width to 99% at 600 px. And after that, the core display has given the width arrow because it was affecting the responsiveness. And this is all about responsiveness. So this is all done. The whole weather app is completely done and functional.